And welcome to the Hall Priest Universe. I'm King HP, also known as Father, and today we want to have a conversation about the current state of the MCU, where we see it going, and a lot of stuff is really thrilling, really exciting, and then there's some stuff that's really concerning, right? So, uh, the elephant in the room is the latest and greatest with Jonathan Majors, right? But first, before we get into any of that, I do want to take the time to say Doctor Strange giveaway. It is still going. These are opportunities. If you want to know how you can get a chance to win, tune in at the end of the video and I will give out all the details on what you need to do to enter to win. Now, the Jonathan Major situation. I don't really want to speak on it. It's a domestic situation, a domestic abuse situation. Texts were released, arrests were made. Lawyers were involved saying, oh man, when all this gets cleared up. And unfortunately, we haven't seen charges dropped. And it looks like things are pushing forward. Not sure. A lot of rumors are swirling as to Jonathan Majors. Will he remain as Kang? Some things that aren't rumors was that his management team did release him. They did drop him. Okay. So that is the unfortunate situation. Right now, I don't want to really say too much because at the end of the day, I wasn't there and I don't know. I did read some of the text messages, but I don't know if that's an official source because it came through TMZ. I don't know if things like that are coerced or not, but we'll see what happens, right? We'll let the law do the law thing. And but as for now, what does that mean for the MCU? So with the MCU having Kang Dynasty, right? That is the big Avengers payoff for this whole phase 5, 6, phase 4, 5, and 6, right? And that's the Multiverse Saga. Okay. That is a very huge thing. We've seen Jonathan Majors in the Loki series. He's in the Loki season 1. They're already done with Loki season 2. That's supposed to release this year, right? He was in Ant-Man Quantumania. It is said that underperformed to where they wanted it to be, but all in all, it was the number one, right? And when I look at Marvel Phase One, right, when they weren't releasing slates and telling you everything that was going to happen, this movie here, right? Movies that did these type of numbers and maintained number one kept the MCU moving along. So I'm looking at phase 4 like a phase 1. They're reintroducing characters, not reintroducing, but they're introducing characters, right? We got Moon Knight, we got She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel. These are characters that are going to be around now in the MCU. Then we got reintroduced to characters who took on new positions. Falcon became Captain America, right? We got introduced to his sidekick, which is going to become Falcon. And then, we're seeing what's going on with the Winter Soldier, how he was the White Wolf, but I don't know what his name is. Then we saw like the U.S. agent defer over. We saw like Madame Hydra get introduced. So it's a lot, right? I look at Phase 4 very similarly to Phase 1. You didn't have multi-billion-dollar movies coming out in Phase 1, boom, 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 and we didn't have Avengers: Infinity War or Endgame. So a lot of hype has been placed on the MCU because of that. Once you got Infinity War and Endgame, it seems like people expect those level movies every time out, and that's unfair, right? So anyway, state of the MCU. They are in a good place. People are talking about the MCU as far as the Fantastic Four, right? We just had a casting saying, I don't know if it's confirmed. Let me make sure I get the guy's name right because I don't wanna mess up his name. But so I don't wanna get the name wrong, right? So Adam Driver is looked at being casted right now. He's the name that's coming out, right? And he just did that movie 65. Um, so it's the prehistoric movie, right? So what we want to look at though is, will they keep Kang, right? I saw on another channel uh, the idea of introducing Doctor Doom. And if you're not familiar, in Secret Wars, Doctor Doom is one of the premier villains, right? Because you have the Beyonder who brings them all there to Battle World. But That's the first Secret Wars. And the second Secret Wars, it's with incursions and the things we're seeing now in the MCU with the multiverse. So introducing Doctor Doom will be a hard task. We're already beyond phase 4. We're in phase 5. But were there already hints to Doctor Doom, right? We saw the Moon Knight series, that castle scene where Moon Knight awoke in that field or whatever. That was very much taken from the Doctor, from reference to Doctor Doom. We've also seen in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they were in a country called Latvia, not Latveria, Latvia. Now, just geographically, I would think something like, West Virginia and Virginia are next to each other, right? North Dakota and South Dakota are next to each other. Or countries, sometimes you have like similarities in the names. And Latvia would sound like it would be in the same part of the world as Latveria, right? So, and that's where in the, that's when, it was not Okoye, but Oyo visited uh Bucky, right? And she was basically saying that she wanted to take Baron Zemo. Time is up, right? You owe us Baron Zemo. So another another part to that, right, is if we go back to Avengers Age of Ultron, what happened to all the Ultron bots? Like in the United States, we see damage control, right? And they're always taking up all the remnants of alien technology and stuff like that, right? Because they're supposed to be putting it away or whatever have you. But they were in Sokovia, which is another country, which I would assume damage control doesn't have free reign over there. So it will make sense with all those Ultron bots that were rushing the Avengers. Remember, Thor was like, "Is that all you got?" And Ultron was like, "An army." If they became Doom bots, right? Because let's say Doctor Doom, who is probably somewhere in the MCU where we haven't seen yet, but get little tidbits. If he had the resources to collect all that, similarly to how the the DC, similarly to how damage control collects all the stuff, right? And what he did was maybe promise his people that we won't have those type of situations, because we know Doctor Doom being a man of science and a man of magic, which makes him, and he has the resources like Tony Stark financially, and he's a king and has sovereignty like T'Challa, the Black Panther. So he is on a level where you can mix in Doctor Strange, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, right, for intelligence level, uh, and T'Challa. Like if you combine all of them together, you would get like Doctor Doom, right? And that's what makes him so powerful, right? And he's always seeking more. So with that being said, I think that's a good setup, because now you could say, okay, we saw Kang get defeated. Let's go ahead and change Avengers Kang Dynasty into whatever, right? Maybe you keep it Kang Dynasty and you just recast Kang. See, the beauty of the Multiverse Saga is that the Multiverse Saga has variants, and we saw from the Loki series, variants don't have to look like you. We saw Kid Loki, Alligator Loki, there was a Black Loki. So Loki can be anybody, right? And because of variants, it should apply for all people, right? As we saw, hint, hint, with WandaVision, Ralph Boner was Quicksilver, right? But it was the same Quicksilver from the right. So I'm not going to get into that because they said that was Ralph Boner, but I feel like that could be retconned or go back to, and they can add more information that it really was Wanda pulling him. But whatever. So that would be an interesting choice, because really, when you're watching the MCU on its decline right now, right? I'm not going to say it's like a decline to a disaster, but it's not as interesting as it was in phase 3, right? As we led up, we were like hyped for Infinity, and Infinity War has probably one of the greatest trailers. Go back and watch it. Infinity War had one of the best trailers, and then it left the cliffhanger, and Thanos became this huge icon of pop culture. Like, the Thanos, you know what I'm saying? You got like the Joker, right? You have like Thanos, you have Darth Vader, you have, you know what I mean? Like there's these icons. And Thanos did that in a 10-year period less than 10 years really, because Iron Man came out in 2008, but the first Avengers film was like 2012, right? And at the end of that, that's where we saw Thanos for the first time. So from 2012 to 2018, when we got Infinity War, right? So or I should say Endgame, right? In 2019, because really that was the culmination of that story. So I think getting rid of Jonathan Majors is just something you need to wait, right? I'm not really big on the cancel culture type of thing, especially when you don't have all the details, right? Because it could have been, hey, this was a big misunderstanding. There was a disagreement. His career is already in limbo right now, right? You lose your talent manager, your team, your management team. I believe his PR team also left uh, as well. So, but Marvel hasn't. I think Marvel's just kind of playing cool and seeing what their options are. So that is interesting. So Marvel still has the Marvels coming out, right? That is later this year, November, and we look forward to that. We're about 2 weeks out from Guardians of the Galaxy, right? And let's talk about Guardians. Like we feel like it's a sad movie, but what do we expect from Guardians, right? Well, we need to push the story forward, whether it's with the Guardians or the Multiverse Saga, or a little bit of both, right? Maybe introduction to new characters. Well, shout out to Ace. Shout out to Ace, right? When talking about what the end credit scene could be, it was thrown out there, Nova, right? Because you're giving us Adam Warlock now, right? And we need someone. We don't know how Adam Warlock's going to be in the MCU yet, right? Like we know how powerful he is in the comics, but he's already missed the Infinity Saga. So they may use him in the same type of context that the Infinity Saga, the Infinity War, the comics used him, but for the Multiverse Saga, right, where he's that important, he's that crucial. But what about Nova? Because if the Guardians are going to change team, like James Gunn has said that this team of the Guardians, this is the last movie we're getting with this team of Guardians. I don't know if the MCU is going to continue with the Guardians 4. I would expect it. We got a Thor 4. We're getting Captain America 4. But Captain America 4 has a new Captain America. And Thor 4 had two Thors, right? So will they reuse Jane Foster at some point down the road now that she's in Valhalla? I expect to see it, but we don't know. I think that introducing Nova is a great idea for a couple of reasons, right? Shout out to Ace. Shout out to Ace. Uh, when we talked about this conversation, right? We were talking about an Infinity War. There was a stone that Thanos acquired prior to the movie starting, right? And that was the Power Stone. Now, that was on Xandar, and Xandar was destroyed, decimated, as Thor had told us, right? It was decimated about a week ago, and then Thanos went on to Thor's ship. So, what happened there? Where is Nova? Is Nova we know Nova exists because the Nova Corps has been around the MCU in the MCU since the first Guardians movie. When they went to Xandar and you've seen those officer like people on Xandar, those are the Nova Corps. So we've seen them. We've seen them. But we haven't seen the one they refer to as Nova. Now, again, the MCU, we've seen how they done the Hulk, right? He's been in 2008 when Edward Norton's The Incredible Hulk release, he was like the Hulk we know and love. And now we have, I don't know, a version of the Hulk that I don't think anyone is like, that's my favorite version. I haven't heard it yet. So, and I don't say that. I publicly am here with the Hulk. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, he's like a 30. Because again, with the Hulk, just on a quick tangent, where is the Hulk? Like you said, you guys struck a deal, the brain and the muscle together, but we've never seen the Hulk. We've seen the Hulk's body being run by Bruce. Now in Sakaar, we saw the Hulk and he was out and about. What will be dope? Well, I've said this before. We had Groot, I Am Groot shorts. They need, since we have Professor Hulk, well, we need, since it's Professor, like, Professor Smart and Professor Hulk, that's what we call him. We need Dumb Banner, okay, or Dumb Bruce. And what that would be is a bunch of shorts, 10-minute episodes of Bruce Banner being walking around, because this is the deal, right? On camera, all the movies, so on shows, She-Hulk, we saw Bruce as Hulk, Professor Hulk. But there's got to be a time where he gets to switch, and since we saw Bruce in the Hulk's body, we should now see the Hulk in Bruce's body. And that would be pretty interesting to see this raging brute who, like, he can feel pain, he can feel like the aggravation of not having infinite strength, essentially, to be like, I won't, and then he bang, or like, bouncers throwing this dude out of the club, Hulk smash, and he hits a bouncer, and this guy out of here. You know what I'm saying? Give me Dumb Banner. I said I was gonna do a little Dumb Banner stop motion series, but stop motion is not too easy. But that is what I would like to see. And now we understand the trade-off a little bit, right? Because we haven't seen the Hulk's personality. So what is he, just chilling? He's okay with just giving you the body? So it doesn't make any sense. That's why it's almost better that you say that Thanos is when Thanos bodied him, it was because he was scared. No, he was tired of being used. Then why don't we see him anymore? Why do we not see the Hulk's character at all? We don't see those. We don't even see the guy. So give us the Dumb Banner series, or Foolish Banner, or Weak Bruce, or whatever you want to call it. But you gave us an I Am Groot series. No one asked for that. Nobody asked for that. When come on, man. What was the point? Then you give us a hulked out version of Groot with a $60 figure that comes. Asked for that. So again, the state of the MCU, they have to do a better, I would say, QA job, quality assurance. Someone needs to be like me, whatever. But anyway, someone who can watch this and go, okay, loopholes, plot points, perfect plot point. What if? What if is the perfect show to not just bring up random episodes of stuff like, what if Thor didn't have Loki and he, became Party Thor? Like, why did he become Party Thor? Because he was always a warrior with or without Loki. Well, seemingly with Loki, right? So now without Loki, he's just like, he wants to party. It just doesn't quite equate. What we could get from What If, that would be pretty dope. And I'm pretty sure they've already started working What If, so we won't get it. But especially with one episode that was due from season 1, right? The Gamora episode as Thanos, because Thanos didn't exist. But going back to that note, right? In the MCU 616 Earth's timeline, right? Follow me. We saw 2014 Thanos and his army come to our timeline, leaving his, right? Because the stone was put back. Okay? But now there's no more 2014 Thanos, army, or Gamora, or Nebula. Call Obsidian, Ebony Maw, right? Because they all got dusted. So now that creates a branch timeline. That happens right before Star-Lord gets the Power Stone, the orb. Because remember, War Machine knocked him out. So what's supposed to happen now, he gets up, goes in there, still gets the orb, right? He's going to go to Xandar with it, because he successfully he's going to have a little fight there with some of Ronan's people. He has the orb. Now, this is critical because Groot and Rocket are like bounty hunters. Like, they see Peter Quill and they know there's a bounty on his head. They about to try to get the money for him. Gamora wants the orb, so they all, remember, they bag Star-Lord. Gamora cuts him out the bag. It's a big thing, right? And that's how the Guardians, that's their origin of how they're formed. Well, without a Gamora, he gets bagged for that bounty. It completely changes things. Ronan has no one to answer to, because there's not even an army of Thanos anymore. Like, that timeline is like, what happened to them? They don't know. They just disappeared off the face of it. And now rumors start. People will start rising, trying to rise to power, right? And that's going to be pretty dope. That's what I want to see from What If. Because What If, that's a real timeline. That plot hole. Let's fix them on What If. We don't even have to fix it. We just have to elaborate on what's, that will be fire. Because when you look at what happened after the MCU after Guardians, where the orb, because they formed the Guardians, you still have Age of Ultron where Ronan, I'll do it myself. But there is no Thanos. So no one's coming for the stones. No one's coming for the stones. Or is someone else going to come for the stones? Hmm. Hmm. So give me that type of stuff, right? So again, the current state of the MCU, there's a lot going on, but I just want to tap in and throw some random ideas. What do y'all think is gonna be headed next, right? Do you want to see Nova pop up at the end of Guardians? I do. To not go at Adam Warlock, but at him looking with maybe a group of people he was able to save from Xandar, looking for refuge, and maybe Adam Warlock is like, yo, who? Because he's new, he's brand new. He was still in incubation period at the end of Guardians 2. We will call him Adam, right? So he'll have, even though he won't talk like a baby, obviously, but he will still be learning. He'll be in learning mode, learning his abilities, learning how the worlds and armies of different vast places work. So it'll be pretty dope. And will he end up coming to Earth based on something that happens in the Marvels, where they see the jump point and then they touch it, and he's just flying around. And he sees the jump point because we know about jump points from the first Guardians movie. And then we saw it again in Endgame where he's like, "Who's ever been?" Rocky said, "Who ever been to space? Who hasn't been to space?" And they went through, and they were going through. So yeah, so it's a lot. But again, it's all gonna fall. Would I like to see Doctor Doom come in? Yes. Change Secret Wars. Bring us the Beyonder. You can start laying the groundwork to Doctor Doom. If you choose to get rid of Jonathan Majors. My only fear is by the time we get to Phase 6, because this is Phase 5, Phase 6, we're going to get the 2 Avengers movies. If Marvel doesn't start hitting some home runs like they did, because remember, they didn't hit home runs every time at the park. Don't be fooled. Don't act like everything was a home run. They had all number ones. They still have all number one movies. Just some movies did $1 billion, some did $500 million, some did 675. They did different amounts, right? But they do have to start hitting some home runs. Guardians probably needs to be close to around 700 million. It needs to have some good reviews across the board. And I would say the Marvels. But the problem is, people in 2023, if they see like, oh, it's all female-led movie with female villains, they be like, give me a good story, man. That makes sense. Don't just do things to do it. Like, oh, we're just going to put all these women in this movie. Or we're going to put all these men in this movie. Or we're going to put all these extra. We know Ms. Marvel. We know Monica Rambeau. We know Captain Marvel. It makes sense to me. It makes sense, and it don't feel forced. Ms. Marvel is the teenager. She'll be how Spider-Man was to the Avengers in that group. Oh, we're using our real names? We're using our made-up names? I'm Spider-Man, right? It's like he's a kid. And she looks like a kid. She looks more like a kid than Tom Holland looked like a kid. And that's crazy. Casting for Marvel is on point. So I just wanted to point those things out, have a little talk about, have a little round table, and let's see what happens. Okay? We got Guardians of the Galaxy coming in 2 weeks. So I'm assuming we're gonna get one, maybe two end credit scenes. That'd be great to get two. Anything more than that's great. I don't know if Guardians is the right movie to push forward the Multiverse Saga, but the cosmic tales of the MCU will probably get pushed through Guardians, right? Because Thor, Captain Marvel, Guardians are all outer space, otherworldly beings. They can push that. You have Doctor Strange, and I'm trying to think of who else to deal with the magic side. I mean, Thor kind of deals with it too. So Thor can kind of go into two realms with that. You can push a magic side, what's going on here, but now you have the incursions, right? And that's also becomes a part of science, which when you come back to Earth, you have Bruce Banner as a scientist. You have some of these militarized generals trying to catch up to science and try to figure out what's going on. So when they come in contact with some of these relics and things like that, who knows, right? They'll be like, "Oh snap!" And then they open doors that let like Loki come in. Remember the first Avengers? This is a gateway to the other side, and Loki came right in. Chip, chip, Loki. So and we have Loki season 2 later this year. Secret Invasion this year, June next month. No, the month after. I'm sorry. June 21st, I believe it is. So let's just tap in, and I look forward to Secret Invasion. I think the best thing that'll be released this year, if I was a gambling man, I think Secret Invasion is going to steal the show. I think behind that, if Guardians can, it's going to be some comedy, but if they can keep a sad or serious tone through the comedy, I think that'll be the second best thing, and it'll really trip people up. It'll really, because there'll be stakes. If somebody's going to pass away, not going to make it, then that makes the MCU like, oh, the heroes don't always just win, or if they do, they win at a cost. What's the cost, right? So that's all I got. But let's get back into this giveaway. So details for this giveaway, right? Doctor Strange, Eye of Agamotto. All you have to do is be subscribed to the channel, leave a like on the video, and a comment. That's it. 3-step process. It's simple, right? So again, subscribe to the channel, leave a like and a comment, and the more videos you like and comment on, is the more opportunities. So, quick scenario: you like this video, you leave 10 comments. That's cool. I'm gonna appreciate it, but it only gets you one opportunity to win. So if you go back 10 videos and you like all 10 videos and comment on all 10 videos, that's 10 opportunities. Okay. So with that being said, I wish everybody luck. Stay safe. And until the next time, man, let's just see what's going to happen with Marvel. Great things coming. Guardians in 2 weeks. And we'll probably do the Eye of Agamotto giveaway at that time. So until then, stay safe.